What's up guys, I'm Branch with Korbin's Archery. Today I'm going to be diving into both of these bows, kind of decide which one is a better bow. We may have a little shoot off at the end of the video, so stick around to find out which one of these bows is the best. So starting out, a lot of people have a common misconception that the target bow is going to be more accurate. What I'll tell you is if you put both of these bows in a hooter shooter without any human influence, both of these bows are going to stack. They're going to hit in the same hole repeatedly. The difference is this bow is made to be a little bit easier to be consistent with. When you are shooting a bunch, it's made for target. Not necessarily more accurate, but easier to be consistent with. That's going to be because of how the bow is built, the accessories that on it. So let's kind of dive into that, starting with how this bow is shaped and designed for its mission. So first off, you can see that the length of this bow is going to be a lot longer. That's going to help it to hold better, be a little bit more forgiving. It's not going to be practical going out into the hunting woods with something that's this long. It's a lot easier to get this in out of a tree stand, be crawling around with, not going to be getting in the way, bumping on stuff. But it does help having that length to be a little bit more stable when you're shooting. It's also going to have a longer brace height. That's going to play a lot into the forgiveness, but it's also going to make it slower. My hunting bow is going to have a shorter brace height, which is going to affect how fast it is to give it a little bit more of that punch that you want when you do shoot an animal. Our limbs, you can see how parallel these limbs, they're really flat. That's going to help with the quietness and the vibration. And since it's going straight up, it keeps it from having a lot of vibration in there. This is going to have a little kick towards the target, which is going to be nice. It kind of, as you're executing and when that bow breaks, you're going to feel it, a little thump to it, and it's going to go to your target. Which cam sizes, you can see that this is a lot smaller of a cam than this. This is also going to be a lot smoother of a cam. So when you're shooting target, you're typically shooting a lot more arrows. So something that you can shoot a bunch with, feel more comfortable with is nice. But you get more speed out of this larger cam that's maybe just a little bit more harsh. That's important when you are trying to penetrate, punch through an animal. So a larger cam on the hunting bow. So next up, we'll kind of dive into the accessories, starting with the sights. What I've got here on my hunting bow is going to be a 4-pin sight. This allows me to quickly gauge where the animal is at and put a pin on there, depending with a 50-yard range of accuracy, basically. Now I can go past that. I can rover my sight to get there if I need, but anything closer than that, I've got a pin set for it. Don't have to worry about moving my sight. I've got a single pin in my hunting bow that just gives me a little clearer of a sight picture that I can put on the actual target itself. What I'll say is probably one of the bigger differences between my hunting bow to my target bow is having a lens that's just going to help me to see things that I typically couldn't see as well with the hunting bow. So really like the lens. This is a 5-power lens in here. Also have to adjust my pin to the exact yardage as I range. That's going to be more accurate, a lot more consistent. This is also going to have a smaller scope, which is going to kind of come into my Peep sight that I'll talk about in a little bit. Same thing, this is a little bit larger housing to let more light in. I've got a 19 thousandths pins on my hunting bow up until my bottom pin, just so when it does get, when it gets darker outside, I can see it longer. I can see and not get covered up with my 10 thousandths that I've got in my target scope. And the last quick thing between the difference between these two sights is going to be the actual bar itself, the adjustability. This is a little bit more fine-tuned with really tiny clicks in there that I can put it exactly where I want it. This is going to be made to be a little bit quicker, a little bit easier accessible, and I've got a quicker adjustability on there. Now for our rest, both of these bows are going to have the Hamskis on there. This one is just not going to have the containment bracket that I have on my hunting bow. I want that on my hunting bow because as I'm moving through the woods, I don't want my arrow rattling around, falling out. It just keeps it in there nice and ready to go. On my target bow, I've got a much bigger arrow, so I don't want to have to worry about contact with my rest or anything like that. So take that off, don't have to worry about it, not necessary. Also got the metal launcher blade on here versus the overmolded launcher blade. That's going to help with the quietness, obviously. But on my target bow, I'm not necessarily worried about that when I'm drawing. I don't have to worry about it wearing out like it could on the overloaded or the overmolded launcher with the felt on there. So now onto the Peep sights. The main things are going to be that I have a lens in this Peep sight, and it's also going to be smaller. So talking about that, since I do have a lens in my target sight, I have to run a clarifier to make sure that my target is still clear, that I can still see the edges, lines on a target face or 3D animal. So I do have a low powered clarifier in here, and I also have a very small aperture. So kind of going in, I've got a smaller housing, I've got a smaller aperture. That just means that when I line it up, everything's really small and I can really fine tune my alignment with my Peep to scope. This is going to be a bigger aperture with a bigger housing. That's going to allow more light to come in. When it starts getting darker, I can see better in those low light conditions. Now next up is going to be our stabilizers. As you can see, that's going to be the first thing most people notice when they see a target bow, is how long and obnoxious the stabilizers are. That's going to help with the stability, how well the bow holds. Not going to be anything practical for hunting whatsoever, and also is going to catch more wind. So I don't have as issue in the wind with my hunting bow as I do with my target bow, just because I've got the long bars. But other than that, this is going to help this bow hold a lot more stable because it gets the weight out further. So that was real briefly the differences between my target bow and my hunting bow, the accessories and their missions. They're both designed for different missions, different environments that they're going into. And so now let's set up a target. I've got a 3D target down there. We're going to shoot one arrow and we're going to go for the very center 10, see which bow wins. This is it. This decides if my hunting bow is better or my target bow. This is what y'all have all stayed and waited for, so let's do it. Okay, so I've got my deer target down there, shooting at the center 10. I believe this is 40 yards. Yep, 40 yards. I'm going to let Cohen choose which bow Dada's going to shoot first. Which one should I shoot first? The hunting bow? All right, good choice. All right, so we're going to set it up 40 yards. We're shooting for center 10. See which bow hits the best. Look at that. See where we need to be. All right, here we go. That one.
That one's better.
That one's better? Well, let's just say I'm going to have to put my target arrow in the very center of the 10 ring because that one was almost perfect. So let's see what we got with the old target rig. That one is a little left. Let's go check it out.
Oh, look at it.
Cohen found himself a shed, but the hunting bow won it this time. The hunting bow won it this time. Like I was saying, it's going to be mission and setup. I know this won it this time, but typically it'd be a lot easier for me to go out on a 3D course and shoot my target bow and have a higher score than it would, especially since I've got distances that are going to be between my pins and not just at an exact 40-yard pin. But yeah. Thank y'all for watching. If y'all found this video to be interesting or helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. If y'all have any questions about this, drop a comment below. And y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.